I've been very critical of a lot of vegan food, especially these new products that were coming out, because I felt that they don't represent vegan food well. Somebody tries the food and it doesn't taste good. Maybe they'll think that like all vegan food doesn't taste good. Hi, this is Jason of Vegan Hacks. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Rant and Recipe, where I rant about something, then I show you an amazing recipe. Now you can stay for the rant or skip to the recipe, but they're related to one another, so you probably should stick around for everything. And please follow me because I'm trying to get traction on this channel. So I had like a light dinner over at Erewhon. In the sushi counter, they had a bunch of different plant-based options. But one was kind of interesting. So I saw that they were selling a plant-based crab, and it's by a company called Conscious, and I'd never tried it before, so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just try the plant-based crab. And there's a couple companies that make a vegan crab. I know there's a company called Azuki that makes like a fake vegan crab that's actually quite good, but I hadn't tried the Conscious crab before. But as I was like looking and like kind of shooting around at some of the stuff at Erewhon, the supervisor that was in charge of the sushi came up to me and we just started talking about plant-based options. And I said, oh yeah, you you used to have all this different type of plant-based fish in your counter. And he's like, yeah, it wasn't selling anymore. People weren't interested in buying the plant-based fish. And then I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna try this crab, this by Conscious. I haven't had it before. So it's like a sushi roll, California roll style crab roll. And he said, oh, we discontinued it. We're just selling off the stock that we have and we'll no longer have this product. And I'm like, well, why did you discontinue it? He's like, well, it's not selling. The interest isn't there. Here I am, buying a product that, looks interesting, but has no market value to the people at Erewhon. The crab roll was, it was a little pricey. I think it was like $14. Sushi rolls, like if you get them at a supermarket here in LA, anywhere between like, I don't know, $8, $20, depending on what's in it. I guess obviously it's plant-based crab, maybe they can charge a little bit more, but it was $14 for the rolls. The sushi was very well made. Crab itself was, taste-wise, very interesting. I thought it had a nice, sweet, crab-like taste. However, the texture was a little rubbery. So anyway, this kind of opens up a whole situation with this crab world where the novelty of plant-based food, the novelty of, it looks almost exactly like tuna, or it looks just like crab. That novelty has worn off. And the audience for these plant-based proteins is shrinking. And honestly, vegans might try it once or twice, but if it's not good, if it's not something that appeals to them, they're just not gonna buy it again. We're in a situation too where in the microcosm of this situation where, anecdotal, we have these large plant-based companies like Impossible and Beyond that are having trouble financially, and obviously, you can point to situations like, oh, well, it's mismanagement, they spent too much money, they took too much effort creating a market for something that didn't exist at the time, and at one time, these plant-based proteins and these cutting-edge vegan foods, there was this level of excitement that was surrounding them because they were new, they were exciting, they were different. And a lot of people wanted to try these products, and they did. But the situation is that the novelty has worn off. And then you have to start looking at, okay, well, is it flavor? Does it taste good? Is it something that you would eat 3 times a week if you're an omnivore? Vegans, we have no choice. I've been very critical of a lot of vegan food especially these new products that were coming out, because I felt that they don't represent vegan food well. And situation is, if somebody tries the food and it doesn't taste good, maybe they'll think that like all vegan food doesn't taste good. You know, if they try a fake meat and it tastes rubbery or it tastes weird or it has a strange texture or has a canned dog food flavor, maybe they'll think that all vegan meats taste like that.
Enough ranting, it's recipe time. Today we're making a vegan crab roll. And this is one of my favorites. I don't have any sushi rice lying around, so we're going bootleg mode. I'm taking some leftover medium grain rice and seasoning it sushi style with rice vinegar, sugar, and salt. Fun fact, sushi actually means sour rice. So technically I'm legit. For the crab filling, I'm starting with a super firm tofu, cutting about a quarter block and grating it like it's Parmesan. But it's tofu, obviously. Some people tell me that they can't get their tofu to grate. But here's my secret, only firm or super firm tofu will work. Soft tofu? Forget it, it'll make a mess. Now let's mix in some either crushed nori, but I'm cheating and using plant-based furikake, which is seaweed and sesame. Let's add some sriracha for heat, and the ultimate vegan flex, vegan Kewpie mayo. Regular vegan mayo works too, but this one hits a little different. Mix it gently. You want those tofu bits to stay a little chunky like crab. Next up, avocado time. Now, I'm not a trained chef, as you can already tell, but I got tricks. Just slice in half, peel off the skin, and cut into slices. Easy. Now let's build this sushi roll. The nori goes down. Rice cooled to room temp gets pressed across the surface with wet fingertips. I keep a little bowl of water nearby. Trust me, this saves you from sticky rice hands. I lay the tofu crab mix on the first third of the sheet, piling it on, adding the avocado slices, and start rolling. I've been practicing my sushi game, and this looks like it's working out. Slice it up and sprinkle with black sesame seeds. And let's add some sriracha mayo. And there we have it. A vegan crab roll that's super tasty, inexpensive, and about 10 times better than the $14 Erewhon luxury roll.